Well, good morning, everybody. So I just thought I would pop on in here early this morning and do a live stream. So they are doing some construction next door, which is actually kind of perfect for what I want to talk about today, which is how to get in touch with your feelings and with your inner being and with yourself and maintain focus when you've got all of these shifting conditions around you, right? This is what I do. So the first thing I do is I center in, I close my eyes. I imagine gathering all of my energy to me, and I kind of picture them like ribbons. My energy is sort of like these tendrils, these ribbons that reach out from my center. And I just imagine calling them back to my body, slipping them out of any entanglements like worries, thoughts, or concerns that are outside of my present moment. And I just see them reeling back in, like just calling them home. And they usually kind of center in my head and in my heart. And then what I do is I pay attention to the way my feet make contact with the floor. And I imagine that energy continuing to kind of come down, 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 down into my abdomen, into my pelvic region, root and sacral chakras. I might even touch my womb space. This is a sacral area. Okay. Might even rock back and forth on my sit bones, just feel a contact between my sit bones and the seat. Okay. Pay attention to the breath. I imagine that with every inhalation, I'm actually creating space inside, psychic and physical space. That I'm breathing in space around whatever that anxious energy might be. And then noticing where it's living inside my body. And usually that looks like and or feels like some kind of tightness or tension. Sometimes it's just my imagination or an intuition as to where something might be inside. Right now I'm getting that I have something in my lower back. Okay. And if I notice something, I'll go there. So I'm just imagining my awareness, my consciousness traveling through my body. I see it going down my esophagus, into my intestines, into my stomach. And I imagine it kind of drifting back towards my spine. I might even see like scientific drawings or images in my mind as I do this. It goes back down into my spine, my lower back, and I imagine that this is a real place. I'm just taking a look. And at first I see a vertebra that is red and inflamed. Then it turns into a scene, and there is a kind of like a merry-go-round, like when you're in a children's park. It's not a carousel, it's like a metal merry-go-round, and I'm on it. I'm trying to get on it, and it's hard to stay on it. It's going really fast, and I keep falling off. And so you just sort of receive whatever it is that you're witnessing, and you can ask questions. So I might ask a question like, what do you want to show me? And so I just see a younger version of myself walking away and going and sitting by a pool and relaxing. So I take that to be that that I need to get off the hamster wheel and stop trying to get back on it. Okay, so then I just might breathe a few times, kind of feel like that's enough. Breathe a few times. There's any energy tied up in that spinning merry-go-round, just kind of let it go. Either through the breath or I just let it drop down into the earth. And just sort of count back in my mind from 5 to 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just let that come forward. So I'm listening. Okay. Now, it depends on how willing and or ready you are to get into a practice like this. But for me, in my process, after doing something like that, I would probably draw it out. I would want to see it, and because I think that would further inform my situation. So I'm going to do something really quick here because obviously it's a live video and we're doing a demo. But I could either draw exactly what I saw, I could just let my hand move and scribble, expressing the feeling of witnessing that, whatever element of that witnessing I want to explore and express. I think for today, I'd actually feel compelled to trace my hand. So I'm going to trace my left hand, which is my non-dominant hand. And this may be in part influenced by an intervention I've been sharing with my book club, which is a more exclusive group. And we've been playing with dominant versus non-dominant parts of our brain and our body and exploring what messages those parts have for us. So I've traced my non-dominant hand. I'm going to use my dominant hand to color in the lines a little bit. And then something like this. Okay. So this is what I've drawn. Just to kind of get it out of my head. So I've kind of got the swirling going on. Kind of reminds me of that merry-go-round kind of energy. And then an extension of this would be that you would have a conversation between your dominant and your non-dominant hand. So the dominant hand sort of represents, let's say, this energy, right? The part of you that's caught up and worried about things. And then the non-dominant hand is part of you that is less acknowledged, that can be the voice for the part of you that maybe you find is less accessible. Okay, so I'm going to ask a clear question with my dominant hand, and that is, I'm just going to ask, what is the wisdom for today? I'm going to switch hands. I'm going to let my non-dominant hand answer. I'll probably switch colors too. Whichever one my non-dominant hand wants to use, which feels like red. Okay. What is the wisdom for today? So I'm just letting my hand move. The more I've been doing this, actually, the more skillful I've become at writing with my non-dominant hand, which has surprised me. Next, simply. And so I'm just kind of letting whatever the first thing is that comes to my mind come out. Okay. Okay. So this is what it looks like. Okay. This is my daily wisdom, and this could become an affirmation. So what is the wisdom for today? Relax, simply organize one thing one day. So that's what I got from my non-dominant aspect, which I'm going to associate with my inner being. You might think it's your inner child because the vision I saw was myself as a younger version of myself. At this point, depending on how much time you have, I might continue fleshing this out because I think when I color or when I draw or create something, that allows me to get into like the non-thought space. And so that becomes a place of receiving for me. But for the purposes of our live stream here, I already have associations with what this is. And yesterday I created this entire billboard of things I have to do for my business. And so I decided ultimately that I've got like all these things going on. I was like, how am I going to delegate this? How am I going to delegate that? And so the wisdom that's coming through for me today is pick one thing and let that one thing be the thing that you organize and focus on, and also allow yourself to relax, because that's going to bring you into a greater alignment with the kind of vibe you want to create, right? It's like I want to do all these things in my practice, in my business, so that I can feel like I have enough time to relax, so that I have enough money, so that I have a sense of peace and well-being around my projects and a sense of inspiration and purpose around it. And part of that, allowing that in and the whys for all of that is so that I can have a sense of relaxation within myself. So that's where it's like, it's a daily thing. You have to check in with yourself. It's a practice, right? Okay, so this video is longer than it would actually take me to do this, but that's because I've set the frame and also wanted to give a demo for you. But this is, so I would encourage you, you could do what I do just to see how it feels for you. You could, as you do things that other people do, you'll start to notice what feels better or worse for you, what works and what doesn't work for you. And that, it doesn't have to be perfect the first time. This is all part of a process of figuring out, like, what is your rhythm in getting in touch with yourself. But do it every day. Every day, like you brush your teeth, like you take a shower, like you go to work. Every day. This is a part of life. This is that moment where you realize that life is not all just happening outside of you. Okay? And now you're going to start to learn how to live in both worlds. All right? Thank you. I'd love to hear your comments in the feed. And if you decide to do this practice as well, I'd love to see your images and your messages.